XRP dropped 22% in June, its worst monthly performance since February 2025. And here's what's frustrating. It didn't drop because of bad news. June was actually a remarkably positive month for Ripple and the XRP ecosystem. So why did the price keep falling? The answer comes down to one piece of legislation, the Clarity Act. And what happens to it in the next 20 working days could be the most important moment in XRP's history. Let's start with the basics. The Clarity Act is the most significant piece of crypto legislation ever introduced in the United States. Some of you may be thinking, didn't Judge Torres already rule in 2023 that XRP isn't a security? You're right. That federal court ruling matters and cannot be reversed by any administration. But here's what it didn't do. It answered a narrow question about specific Ripple sales. It did not establish a permanent regulatory framework. It did not place XRP under CFTC jurisdiction, and it did not give institutional allocators the statutory certainty they need to commit capital at scale. The Clarity Act does all of those things, permanently codified into federal statute. A court saying you didn't break the law is very different from Congress saying, here is the permanent law going forward. The Clarity Act is the latter. The House already passed it, 294 to 134 in July 2025. The entire battle now comes down to the Senate. The bill has completed 5 of 9 steps toward becoming law. The Senate Banking Committee advanced it on May 14th in a 15-9 bipartisan vote. It was formally placed on the Senate legislative calendar on June 1st, meaning it's eligible for a full floor vote whenever Senate leadership schedules one. The remaining 4 steps are Senate floor debate, a 60-vote passage threshold, House-Senate reconciliation, and a presidential signature. That 60-vote threshold is the hardest part. Republicans hold roughly 53 seats, meaning approximately 7 Democrats need to cross the aisle. 2 already did in committee, but described their votes as conditional. The sticking points are an ethics provision tied to President Trump's crypto holdings and a law enforcement section some Democrats want removed. These issues caused bipartisan negotiations to collapse, sending passage odds sharply lower. Polymarket now prices 2026 passage at 48%, down from 74% just a month ago. Here's why the next few weeks are so critical. The Senate returns from recess on July 13th. Once they return, lawmakers have just 20 working days to pass the Clarity Act before Congress breaks for August. Senator Cynthia Lummis has been blunt about missing that window. She warned that failure before the August recess could push the next viable legislative opportunity all the way to 2030. Not next year, 2030. Because the midterm election cycle makes crypto legislation politically toxic for Democrats who might otherwise cross the aisle. SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce said publicly on July 1st she is still optimistic the Clarity Act passes this summer. That is not a casual observer. That is a sitting commissioner who knows exactly how many gates remain, telling the market she expects them to clear. Stifel's chief Washington policy strategist was direct. It needs to clear the Senate by end of July, or the bill's prospects deteriorate materially. The May 14th committee vote gave us a preview. XRP surged 4.5% on that one procedural step alone. A committee vote, not a floor vote, not passage. Full Senate passage would amplify that move considerably as institutional allocators waiting for statutory certainty can finally move. If the bill misses the August window, Senator Lummis's warning about 2030 is not hyperbole. The midterm season makes crypto regulation politically toxic. The near-term catalyst disappears. But here's what this channel wants you to understand. The Clarity Act is XRP's most powerful near-term legislative catalyst. It is not XRP's only catalyst. Even if the bill gets delayed, the DTCC's tokenization infrastructure keeps building with Ripple Prime inside the room. The XRP ledger is already named in the DTCC's own patent as a digital liquidity token suited for high-throughput institutional settlement. And if the yen carry trade continues unwinding, triggering global market stress, the pressure on traditional settlement systems grows with or without legislation. XRP settles in 3 to 5 seconds at fractions of a cent, 24 hours a day. That doesn't need a Senate vote to be relevant. Pass the Clarity Act, near-term movement plus long-term certainty simultaneously. Miss the window, near-term catalyst gone. But the long-term story continues building. Here's the bottom line. XRP's 22% June drop wasn't about bad fundamentals. It was about the Clarity Act stalling and the market pricing in a real possibility the window closes. The Senate returns July 13th. 20 working days remain. Multiple independent catalysts are converging on XRP simultaneously: legislative, institutional, and macro. Any one of them alone could move the needle. Together, they tell a story the current price simply hasn't caught up with yet. Like and subscribe so you don't miss our live updates as July 13th arrives. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think the Clarity Act passes before August recess? This is why we hold.